Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing, and what I thought might be fun this year is to take a look around the yard as things evolve. And I think I've done a pretty good job so far getting ahead of things. I have some weed problems, but you'll notice the lawn is edged, it's trimmed up off the sidewalk, and some of my plants aren't trimmed. That's more strategic than anything because it manages dog traffic. My yard was intended to be very low maintenance, but you know, this doesn't make things low maintenance in a yard. He's hard on grass. He you can see over here, I don't know how well you can tell, he just rips stuff up. He's like a freight train, and so it'll take a while for the grass to fill in. That's Pooh Bear. She's pretty easy, except she loves to dig holes. Which brings us to her favorite spot. So back here, this is the kitchen window, so we look out this window all the time. This was a very nicely done flower bed that had gravel around the edges because we had a little drainage problem and bark dust in the middle. And then one day I decided to let Pooh celebrate her birthday or time with us by digging a hole here, and then she did it all summer long. So you can see we have this weird trench and all the gravel's mixed in. Those are hostas down there, those little sticks over there, so those will come up and fill in. We've got some bulbs. This is something we tried to kill a long time ago that it clearly didn't work out for us. So this flower bed needs some work. That plant over there, I don't know if you can see, it leans funny at the base because the dogs used to run back and forth through there. So what I've done is put this cheesy little fence. You would be amazed at how $10 worth of little fencing from Home Depot can change the dog traffic. The big dog, he just won't mess with it. He doesn't jump. And then the other thing I do is, you'll see a lot of weird metal in my yard. That is to keep Pooh from digging, because she fits through all the fences. I might have to redo and put a voiceover on this. We'll see how it goes. Then we have our deck. It's kind of a patch job because there was a weird cutout there when we moved in, and my husband fixed that. In the winter, all the furniture is put away, but we stay dry over here. It's covered with what I call the party tent. Okay, I had to take a break so Wilson could go inside because he couldn't quit barking. When we first got this house, it had lattice all around the deck, but I just felt like I spend so much time sitting here in the summer, it was kind of like being in lattice jail. So I took out the end parts, but what happened was the dogs were running back and forth through there, and those plants were growing super narrow and scraggly. This piece of fence has only been here, can you see it? Just this little wire fence. It's only been there since the fall, and that's already filled in. So what I'm thinking is I'll leave those there for a few more months and let them fill in, then I'll trim all this up. But right now I've just changed the dog pattern. When you have dogs, the trick is to change their pattern. That's why I have a giant pot of strawberries in the shade, because the freeway was like a dog freeway, and it went right through here, and there's a sprinkler head, and it was bad. So sometimes you use metal or big pots, rocks, to change the pathway. Over here, this was intended to be a beautiful little flower bed outside the window, and what it turned into was the most exciting place for the dogs to wrestle and fight and dig. So this was actually the first place that we put up one of these fences, and it has been 100% successful. I think we put it up, it might have still been summer, and the plants in this flower bed, when it fills in, there's a giant hosta right there, a hosta back there. This is a blueberry bush. There's another big hosta over there and another blueberry bush. So this whole flower bed fills in. But what was happening is right here, these two plants never filled in the middle. And then right here, see, do your azaleas grow? I don't know if you guys can tell. You'll be able to see later in the year. But do your azaleas grow perfectly flat on one side? And that's from the dogs running back and forth through here. So if you have dogs and you want to have a beautiful yard, you have to strategize a little, but it's totally possible, you guys. Which brings me to my next one of my favorite plants. I'll show you. This one is very young. I just put it there to fill this in. Our neighbor that lives there is a lovely lady, and Wilson bothers her a lot. So I'm trying to make it so she can spend time in her yard and he can't monitor her activity. This camellia wasn't blooming, it wasn't growing because it's blooming right now. It's adorable. Because Wilson was running circles around it all the time, and the same for this bush. So again, we have another piece of fence there and a blueberry bush. These fences don't have to stay there forever. They just have to help things fill in. And when we put this fence here, it changed the level of excitement from running behind that bush, but you'll see there's a space behind it. I learned from a different, much smaller dog that I had years ago that if you're planting your backyard and you have dogs, don't plant anything next to the fence that isn't taller than them unless you're willing to fence it off like that. Plus, that grass right there, you trim it down in the winter, but if I wanted, I could have left it taller. So there's no point in trying to plant short things next to the fence if you have a dog. It just doesn't work. So you'll see that grass was very short, but this one right here, I didn't trim it down as much. It's the same idea. It's a low maintenance. You trim it down once a year. They'll be beautiful when you see them in a video later in the year. Again, another hosta. Just so you know, hostas are poisonous for dogs. So a lot of the plants in my yard are poisonous for dogs. So don't get your ideas on that from me if your dogs are plant eaters. Wilson rips the plants out of the ground, but then he leaves them. He doesn't care about them, and Pooh couldn't care less, except for lilies, which are poisonous. She loves lilies, so we only do lilies in the front yard now. Okay, this tree, super dead. Pretty cute though. It was cute last year. I don't know what I'm gonna do. It was a gorgeous red Japanese maple, but what I figured out later, once I came and checked over, is down here at the base, there was this giant divot, and I'm pretty sure Pooh had been digging a hole there. It also wasn't very well planted initially, so it didn't make it. It's kind of a bummer. That's lavender down there, and azalea. It used to have a friend, but Wilson decided we didn't need it. Again, he doesn't chew on them. He just pops them out of the ground and laughs. This is, what is it? Star willow. I'll think of it later after the video. Maybe I'll put it on. I have a couple of these in my yard. They make white, beautiful blooms later in the year, and it fills in so you don't see the fence. That bed frame, which I just remembered I need to move those this year because this has all gotten too big. This was a very small shrub, and I put the frame there to protect it, but now I need to give it some room to grow. That bed frame has vines on it that bloom kind of a periwinkle. So I have quite a few clematis. Deciduous clematis, then I have one up there on the bus stop, and then over there we have evergreen clematis. So just walking you through, you'll see a lot of repetition in the plants. It's very simple. Lavender, the same grass, moss. I don't know the name of that grass, but later in the year you could look at it and probably figure it out. And then a couple of dogwoods. I have dogwoods, lilacs. Oh, I forgot the name of that one, but it was blooming in the other flower bed. Daphne. It's Daphne. And there's nothing back behind the bus stop except, I'll show you my deep, dark secrets in my beautiful yard. Okay, that is a little old dog's favorite thing to do. Right there, she loves to dig. And you can see she's got like trenches all down there. She's stopping to listen because Wilson's barking. But she loves to dig. And then she goes under there. Watch this. I don't know what she does. It's like her secret place. She has another spot on the other side where she has a lot more room to get in. She has a much bigger hole, but she started using that one. So the big dog doesn't go under there. That's just her turf. And when he tried to make a hole big enough to go in there, I said no. So that's the funny thing. That's the funny thing about my yard with its secret of mud. So all year long, the rest of the yard will fill in and it'll be beautiful. And that corner will still look just like that. Probably worse because it gets dusty. Okay, so you can see from the other side that flower bed. And this video is getting kind of long, so I think I'll stop for now. And I hope that you guys enjoyed seeing half. Essentially, we saw half. So I'll do another video of the other half. And this time of year, you see the fence and all the uglies of my yard. And I hope that you enjoyed the honest tour. Bye-bye.